You're listening to Simply the Best Sports Take, the best podcast breaking down the best stuff in sports with host Sean Bingham. His takes are so good, he dropped the mic, but then you wouldn't be able to hear him, and that would suck.
Welcome into STB Sports Take, Simply the Best Sports Podcast. I am your host, Sean Bingham. Thank you for joining us. We are on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor Podcasts, everywhere you get your podcasts. We are there. Thank you for being here. Guys, this is going to be kind of cheesy, but I literally can and sincerely want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. It's like kind of nerdy, but I love that people, care to listen to what I have to say when it comes to sports. It's just been a passion of mine literally since I was a little kid. And so thank you for being here. Whether you're listening or watching, thank you. Please hit that subscribe button. It means a lot to me. Please share the podcast with your friends. Text them the link to whether you're listening on Apple or Spotify or watching on YouTube. Text them the link. I would love that. Per usual, you can check out the description below, whatever platform you're on, and you can see the time at which we hit different segments. I want you guys to get, because I know, some segments are more entertaining or appealing to you than others. So feel free to skip ahead, skip back. Love it if you stay for the whole thing. We've got a lot, though, today about, I wasn't even planning on doing a podcast today. I was going to do one tomorrow, wait till the Jazz game tonight. But one thing I want to make clear, and I'm going to talk about this later too, I'm a fan of sports first. Okay, are the Jazz my favorite team in the NBA? Yes, they are. But I'm a fan of sports first. The Jazz could literally cease to exist. They could sell the franchise, or just the NBA could eliminate the franchise, and I would still watch the NBA every day. I would still do the podcast all the time. I love sports first. I'm a fan of sports first. Teams and players come after that, right? So I'm a huge fan of basketball. I'm a huge fan of football. So that's what I talk about the most. So with that, I like the Jazz. I'm excited. I'm actually going to the game tonight. Very excited. This should be a closeout game. But last night's games were unbelievable. I mean, I had tweeted out that this was like a legacy type game opportunity for LeBron. So I'm going to start here with the Lakers and the Suns. Very pivotal game 5. Anthony Davis, Robin to LeBron's Batman, down with a groin injury, which again, we talked about longevity and durability yesterday on the podcast and how underrated that is. And I had a friend, Kevin. By the way, those that tweet at me, text me, call me, I've had a lot of people doing this now, and I absolutely love it. I had like 5 people reach out yesterday wanting to chat about things that I discussed, and I freaking love it. So please feel free to DM me, tweet me. If you have my number, you can text or call or whatever. Hit me up on Twitter at Sean Bingham or on Instagram at Sean Bingham. Also at STB Sports Take on Instagram at STB Sports Take. So anyway, a friend was saying how he's from Canada. His name's Kevin. Good dude. He's a new listener, so I hope he's listening to this one too. But he talked about how the Raptors. He's a big Raptors fan. They won their title, and some people wanted to take away from them a little bit, like, Durant went down, and I'm one of those people. I'm like, yeah, there's no way the Raptors win that championship if Kevin Durant stays healthy or if Klay Thompson stays healthy, and certainly if both of them stay healthy, right? But they didn't. They didn't stay healthy. They got hurt. Durability is part of sports. Not getting injured and being able to perform, be able to be on the court for your team is part of the game. And so if you can't do that, then that makes your team worse. That makes you as a player worse. And so to me, when players aren't available because of injury, I don't care how talented they are when they play. If they can't play, it doesn't matter how good Anthony Davis is if he's sitting on the bench in street clothes. And so this is a huge issue for the Lakers because I said if they lose Anthony Davis or LeBron, they have zero chance. Last night was a massacre, an absolute massacre. They lost by 30 freaking points. 30, okay? You're telling me Anthony Davis is that important? I mean, this was a chance for LeBron to step up and to be the man, to be the quote-unquote GOAT, right? Which he is not the GOAT, and I'm going to get into that here in a minute. It's actually blasphemous to call him the GOAT. He is so far from Michael Jordan that it honestly like bothers me when people want to talk about him in the same breath as Michael Jordan when it comes to greatest of all time, because he's just not there. He's not there. He never has been, and he won't be. And I tweeted last night, and one of my friends, Brad Cahoon, who's one of the guys that interacted with me, I tweeted out, I said, tonight was a legacy opportunity game for LeBron, currently down by 31 points, with like the face palm emoji. And Brad tweets back, pretty sure anything that happens to his career at this point is just an encore. Okay, true if you're not trying to be the GOAT. LeBron's career is cemented as one of the greatest ever. He is cemented as one of the top 5 players of all time in anybody's mind that has a real basketball knowledge, okay? There are those that are haters. They're going to say he's not even top 5, blah, blah, blah. Clearly, he's top 5. I would say I usually say he's second best, but then when I really think about if I'm trying to win a championship, would I actually take LeBron over Kobe? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. But he's for sure top 5, okay? And to be one of the 5 greatest to ever do what you do, think whatever it is that you do, whoever's listening and watching, what is it that you do, that you're passionate about, that you're good at? And imagine being one of the 5 greatest on the entire planet to have ever lived on the planet to do it, okay? So to say that LeBron is top 5 all time is far from an insult. That is like a humongous compliment that I am paying him, okay? And I'm saying that without question, he's top 5. He's probably top 2, 3, okay? So I'm not taking that away from him. That is cemented. But his goal is to be the top 1. His goal is to be the GOAT, the greatest of all time, the GOAT, not a GOAT, not one of the greatest of all time, but the greatest of all time. He is chasing Michael Jordan. We all know it. He's chasing him. And a game opportunity like last night is a chance for him to gain ground in that argument of being the GOAT, especially when one of the things that he gets dinged the most for is his inability to rise to the occasion in clutch moments. And I know that he's hit more buzzer beaters and all these things that people want to point to, but when you think of LeBron's career, when you think of a clutch moment, and those of you that are, LeBronites, I was going to say something else, but I won't. Those of you that are obsessed with LeBron, that believe in LeBron, that think he's the greatest of all time, when you think of LeBron James' clutch moments, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Probably the block on Iguodala. Okay, there's 2 minutes left, game 7, and Iguodala's in transition, kind of a fast break, but not really. More of a transition play. LeBron comes from behind, swats him off the backboard. That really was one of the greatest defensive plays I've ever seen. It was amazing. It was so clutch. When you think of clutch shots that he makes, though, like you can think of somebody, you kind of start to struggle. With Jordan, it's like I can reel off like 5 instantly, like game 1 of the 97 finals, tie game at the buzzer, literally as the buzzer sounds, bing, drops it in, game winner. His last game in Chicago with the Bulls, game 6 of the 98 finals, the shot of all shots. Not only did he hit that shot, but he got the steal that led to that shot. And before that, he got the layup that put them in a position to be able to win. Like the last 45 seconds of that game 6 against the Jazz in the 98 finals is the greatest 45 seconds in the history of basketball. And it's not even close. It's not even close. The Jazz are up by 3. Stockton had just hit a 3. Jordan gets the there's 45 seconds left. He gets the inbounds pass, drives to the hoop, gets a pretty tough layup in traffic, okay? So now they're down by 1. Now he goes down and it's a steal from Karl Malone. Karl Malone gets the ball in the post. Hornacek clears out. Jordan very sneakily comes back in, swats him, a very clean steal. He's the one that picks up the ball. He's the one that goes back down the court. He's the one that dribbles until there's very few seconds left. He's the one that hits the shot. Like the clutch of those 45 seconds is something we have never seen LeBron even come close to. Not ever, okay? And Jordan had the shot against, on Craig Elo in the lane, that against the Cavaliers. Like there's so many shots and moments we can point to with Jordan where he just doesn't quit and he's not afraid of the big moment. He shines the brightest on the big stage. And LeBron has a losing record in the finals. And he has no help. He has no help. He has no help. He's had Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love as teammates for 4 years. He had Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh as teammates for 4 years. He currently has Anthony Davis as a teammate. And if he makes players so much better, why do they suck so bad when Anthony Davis goes out? If LeBron makes everybody so much better, why do the Lakers suck so bad if Anthony Davis isn't in the lineup? I don't think that's a very good testament to LeBron making others better. Okay, so is LeBron one of the 5 greatest of all time? Yes. Okay, so I'm saying that. He's one of the 5 greatest of all time. So just stop it if you think I'm being a hater, because I'm not. I'm pointing out reality, and if you're triggered right now, it's because it's hitting home and you know I'm right. Okay, so LeBron is one of the 5 greatest of all time. He's just not a guy you can really rely on necessarily in the big moments unless you think 4 out of 10 is really good. And honestly, even then, his championship last year was a fluke. It's an asterisk title. Sure, they were the best team under the circumstances for that year. Those circumstances were wildly different than anything we've seen in NBA history. It was an AAU tournament. There's no crowds. There's no travel. There was a ton of time off beforehand. Guys are dealing with mental health issues, being cooped up in this Disney World, jail that they were part of for months on end. And the two teams that were in the finals are both making first-round exits this year. Okay? The Heat got swept in like blowout fashion to the Bucks. And now you're going to see the Lakers go down in the first round. Now, could they win Game 6 and 7? Of course they could. Yes, they could win Game 6 and 7. Game 6 is back in LA, so that's a big deal. And then Game 7 is Game 7. Anything can happen in a Game 7. And so, could they win? Yes. Do I think they're going to? No. I don't think Anthony Davis is going to play in Game 6, and I think it's done. Chris Paul did seem to get his shoulder hurt last night again, so that's something to look at because if he goes down, we saw what the Suns are without him. I've talked about this multiple times on this podcast. The Chris Paul effect, as much as I don't like him, the Chris Paul effect is very real. He makes players better. He turns teams into winners. He gets drafted by the Hornets, Bobcats, whatever the heck they were. They immediately become better. He goes over to the Clippers. They immediately become a 50-win playoff team. He goes to the Rockets. They increase their win total and become the number 1 seed and are 1 game away from the finals. And only because he couldn't play did they lose that game. He goes to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and instantly they become better than they were when they had Paul George and Russell Westbrook together. They lose those two guys, replace them both with just one Chris Paul, and they become a little bit better and make the playoffs. So nobody thought they had a chance. He goes to the Suns. They go from not sniffing the playoffs for years and first season number 2 seed in the entire NBA, not just the West. So Chris Paul is very, very, very important. It's impossible to understate or to overstate rather his importance on the Phoenix Suns. So if he is hurt, that would switch things up very, very dramatically. I think he's going to play and he'll be okay. And I don't think Anthony Davis is going to play. And if he doesn't play and Chris Paul does, it's over. It's over. LeBron last night, he actually played decently well. But if you look at the box score from last night's game, in the plus minus, LeBron was the worst of any player on either team. Obviously, everyone on the Suns had a plus because they won by so much. But on his own team, in his 32 minutes of play, LeBron was a minus 24. A minus 24. Caruso was second at minus 20. Everybody else was beneath that in the teens or even in the single digits. So LeBron, in his time on the court, that was the worst minutes for the Lakers. A minus 24. So don't tell me he makes others better, okay? Don't tell me. And he's chasing Jordan. He's chasing Jordan. So Brad, again, yes, it's an encore to one of the greatest careers ever. It is a far cry from an encore to being the GOAT. And that's what I responded with, getting back to this tweet exchange. And Brad, I love you, so I hope you're listening to this. Brad's a Lakers fan, so we got to cut him some slack. And, he's just a little bit hurt right now from the 30-point blowout. And we're going to get into some more on this, by the way. So I tweeted back, not if he wants to be the GOAT, which he clearly does. These are moments where he loses any momentum towards that. And then he responded with, MJ wasn't taking the Wizards through the playoffs, and LeBron isn't a miracle worker. This Laker team was all-time bad. And I think he had said something else. I'm not seeing it in the thread here, but anyway, so Jordan had already established himself as the GOAT. Jordan retired after 9 seasons and 3 championships, and he straight up said in his press conference as he's retiring, at age 29, I have nothing left to prove on the basketball court. I'm bored. I got nothing left to prove. He had proven to us and himself and everybody else that he was the greatest to ever play the game. Even Magic Johnson thought that, Larry Bird, and those were the guys at the time who were the GOATs. They were the ones he had been chasing. They knew he had surpassed them. They knew it. Everybody knew it. He was bored. He had nothing left to chase. So he retired. Now, granted, his dad had just passed away, which is very tragic and sad. And for those that don't know, his dad was murdered. Very sad stuff. So I think that played a huge role in Jordan retiring. There's the conspiracies out there that it was a gambling thing and the NBA made him. That's total baloney. That's like put your tinfoil hat on type stuff. That's not true. And so Jordan retired, I think, largely because he was dealing with some traumatic issues with his dad passing away, and he had just won 3 titles. He had established himself 3 in a row. Like, he had worked hard to get to the top of the mountain peak, fighting past Celtics and Pistons and all these teams that were like, they were the veterans. They were the dominant teams. They were the super teams. They were the ones he was chasing. And it does take a while. Like, you're not just born as like, oh, I'm the greatest there ever was on my first season. Like, nobody does that. You look at all these rookie quarterbacks. Peyton Manning had 28 interceptions his rookie season to 26 touchdowns. The guy retired as like top 2-3 quarterback of all time. So you never just are immediately going to get there, right? LeBron took several years to get there. He had to go join D Wade in the Miami Heat with Chris Bosh before he could get his first title. It takes time. Jordan got there and never looked back. He won 3 in a row, scoring titles, MVPs, Defensive Player of the Year, first team All-NBA, first team All-Defense, year after year after year. And he's like, I'm bored. I'm not challenged anymore. This is no longer a challenge. I have nothing left to prove. And my dad passed away. I'm kind of sad. I'm not going to do this right now. So he retired for 2 years. Comes back, wins 3 more in a row. So his last 6 seasons of like real basketball, and again, we can go point to the Wizards. For those that think that Jordan on the Wizards is comparable to LeBron right now, you just don't understand at all what happened with Jordan and the Wizards. He was 39 and 40 in those 2 seasons with the Wizards, literally retired at age 40. His birthday is February 17th. So he was 40 for half of that second season. He was 39 and 40 for those 2 years, and he had been off for 3 seasons. He had taken 3 years to go get out of shape, get a little pudgy, like it's an absolute apples to oranges comparison. It's not even close. It's not even kind of close. LeBron, if we're talking longevity, if we're talking, durability, Jordan's right there. Jordan never got hurt. Jordan got hurt one time. He broke his foot his second season, missed, most of the year. But other than that, he never had injuries. Jordan was just as durable. He just didn't do it as long. LeBron is, I think, a big reason LeBron's prime is lasting so long and why he's pushing so hard. He cares so much about narrative. He cares so much about image, and he's chasing Michael Jordan. And he hasn't caught him yet, and he knows he hasn't caught him, which is why he keeps going. That's a huge reason for LeBron's longevity and durability. He's chasing Michael Jordan. He knows he can't catch him in so many of these categories that are obvious to all of us, like the intangibles of just winning. Do you just go out and win, or do you always have excuses? Jordan had no excuses. Jordan just had results. LeBron has excuses. When he doesn't have the results, he has convenient excuses that are very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? They're very well thought out. Like, they're very calculated. That's the word. They're very calculated excuses, usually in advance. They're planted in advance. Like, he's thinking that far out, Jordan didn't have any of that. LeBron last night, and I got to get into this, LeBron left the bench with 5 minutes and 47 seconds left on the clock. He just abandoned ship, left his team. And don't tell me he went back to get additional treatment. It didn't come after an apparent injury. Like, there was no reason that he needed to leave. He left his team to be slaughtered on their own. He cares so much about image and so much about what other people think of him that he thought, you know what? I don't want to be here for this. I don't want to be visible on the court. I just don't want to be around this type of loss. So I'm going to remove myself, and they can just lose on their own. They can get massacred on their own. He literally left them to die. He's the captain of the Titanic, and he caught a lifeboat by himself and said, I'm out. Good luck. Left them to die alone. That's what LeBron did last night. I don't care if you need a little, ice. You can ice your leg on the, your ankle. You can ice it on the bench. You can have the trainer, massage things on the bench. You don't need to leave. You think he would have left if that was a 30-point blowout in the other direction? Would LeBron have left if his team was winning by 30 points? I'm not going to swear. Heck no. There's a 0% chance LeBron leaves the bench early with 6 minutes left in the game if his team is up 30. He would have been there on the bench just cheering, hooting, and hollering as all the bench warmers got their points, got their shots up. But when he's losing, see you guys, I'm out. You're not good enough for me. It's always somebody else's fault with LeBron. It's always somebody else's fault. It's always he either won or somebody else lost it for him. That's how he is. And he left his team to die alone. He literally, as the captain of the ship is going down, and the captain's supposed to go down with the ship. That's what I've always been told. Not LeBron James. He says, I'm abandoning ship first and by myself, by the way. I'm going to take this lifeboat. I'm taking off. You guys stay here. Good luck to you. That's what LeBron did last night. So to me, it's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic that he did that. It's blasphemous. And I tweeted that last night too. It's blasphemous to put LeBron James in the same breath as Michael Jordan. I tweeted, LeBron not on the bench. This dude is such a diva. Literal blasphemy to compare him to MJ. Couldn't even sit with his team to watch the massacre. That's it. That's facts, folks. That's facts. That's what LeBron James is. So anyway, we'll see what happens over these next couple games. Game 6 is tomorrow night. It's in LA. You got to give the Lakers a chance. LeBron is LeBron. There's always a chance with him, and we'll see if they can somehow turn it around. I mean, yeah, Kuzma didn't play well. KCP was hurt, didn't play well. And was hurt. Schroeder put up a goose egg. But that's the thing. Like, does LeBron make guys better or does he not? Like, if he makes them better, then they should play better. So to me, like, he's the leader. He's the guy. He can't get all the praise when things go well, but never take any of the blame when it doesn't go well. So you can't have it both ways. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Pick one or the other, okay? And so for me, I'll give him praise when he wins. I'm going to take a little bit of praise away from last year's championship, like I said. But the other three, like, he played great. He doesn't have a ton of clutch moments, but he's got championships. Like, the guy's been to the finals year after year. He's durable. He can pass. He can rebound. He can score. Like, there's nothing he can't do. That's why he's one of the 5 greatest to ever do it, probably one of the top 2 or 3 to ever do it. But he's not the number 1. And he's chasing that person, and he hasn't caught up. And he knows that if he just accumulates more and more stats, a bunch of people that aren't intelligent are going to be like, oh, LeBron's the greatest ever because, look, he has the most points all time, and he's 5th in assists, and he's 8th in rebounds, or whatever he's going to finish at, Jordan isn't top 10 in anything but points. Who cares? If you're trying to win, who do you want? If you're saying anyone other than Michael Jordan, you just don't understand basketball, period. Okay, moving on. Damian Lillard last night with the Blazers. Unbelievable game. I went up to the lake last night, and I was watching the game on my phone on YouTube TV. Shout out YouTube TV. And I'm watching this guy, and I'm just like, they're down like 8 or 9, and then they come storming back. And then he hits that shot at the end of regulation, waving off, everybody. It's him, mano a mano with Michael Porter Jr., who's big and quick and young. And you think, like, this is a good, I remember thinking, like, this is a really good matchup. Like, this is a tough guy to get your shot off of, or shot off over. And, crosses him up, does a little step back, a little side step, and boom, drills it at not at the buzzer, but basically at the buzzer, a few seconds left. But it came right after a phantom foul that I thought was definitely not a foul at all. Austin Rivers literally did everything to, like, not foul him. The refs called it. Of course, they review it, which I'm glad they've instituted that rule. They review it, very clearly realize this is not a foul at all. It's definitely not a shooting foul. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is not a shooting foul. How can we justify making it a different kind of foul to, like, just kind of reset? It's almost like a do-over. Kind of like when you're playing your buddy in one-on-one or in tennis, and, like, you're not sure if the ball hit the line or not. Like, was that out of bounds or was it not out of bounds? I wasn't really sure. Could you tell? I couldn't tell. Let's just do it over. That's what they did last night, with the Blazers and the Nuggets at the end of the game there. They're just like, let's just do it over. So they do it over. A few seconds goes off the clock. No harm, no foul. Let's give it back to him. Let him try again. Well, Dame drills it, okay, sends the game to overtime. They're down 3. He hits like an impossible 3. Then they get into overtime. They get way down in overtime. And then somehow McCollum did hit a big 3, by the way. He played below average, but he did hit a really, really big 3. I've heard a lot of people hating on him. Another friend of mine, Chris Baird, diehard Blazers fan from Portland area, called me last night just kind of distressed, like, what is wrong with our team? Like, how can they do this to Dame, And I don't blame him. I said the same thing to friends I was watching with. I was like, if you're on the Blazers, how do you even look at Dame after this game? How can you even look him in the eye? Like, I don't know how you could do it. I mean, you just have to feel so bad. The guy goes off for 55 points, 12 threes, and 10 assists, like, unbelievable all-time great playoff performance, and you guys let him lose. Like, it's just so sad. So sad. So then they get in. So yeah, we're into overtime, and he does this, like, impossible turnaround step back, like a shot. Like, if the average NBA player did that shot in an empty gym, no fans, no defenders, they'd probably shoot like 10% on it. Okay. It was that difficult of a shot. He's literally spinning, twirling, step back, like from 30 feet out, drills it to send it into a second overtime. And I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me. So I tweeted out, again, sticking with my tweets. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean Bingham. I tweeted out, Dame isn't human. This dude has zero doubt in himself at the end of games. And that's so true. Like, the confidence level that this guy has at the end of a game is through the roof. Like, absolutely through the roof. And it shows how much confidence plays into actual shooting percentages. I think that's why the guys like LeBron struggle so much from the foul line. It's all in his head. You know, I mean, LeBron is a phenomenal basketball player. He's a good shooter. Like, LeBron has a good looking stroke. Like, he can shoot the ball. But at the foul line, especially late in games at the foul line, it's all mental. And with Dame, it's all mental in the positive direction. This guy has no doubts. Like, he is so laser focused. It's insane. It's insane to watch. Like, it's truly a thing of beauty. I was thoroughly impressed with Damian Lillard last night. But man, I feel for the guy, you know, like, he goes off. I'm going to pull up this box score. Give me 2 seconds here. So it goes to double overtime. They lose. And that was a pivotal game 5 as well. So the Lakers and Suns were 2-2 and the Nuggets and Blazers were both 2-2. And I really wanted the Blazers, partially because of my prediction that they'd win in 6. I thought if they could win game 5, they win game 6 at home and it's over. Now it looks like they're going to have to try and force a game 7. But a couple things. Nurkic fouled out with 4 minutes left in the game in regulation. So they had 4 minutes of fourth quarter, 10 minutes of 2 overtimes. So they missed him for 14 minutes that he would have played, okay? Because you don't really sub much in those situations, especially in a pivotal playoff game in overtimes. You kind of keep your best guys in. So no Nurkic really hurt them. So that was boneheaded. And the foul that he fouled out on, it's like, dude, just let Aaron Gordon dunk it. Aaron Gordon's going up for a dunk. The guy's twice as athletic as you. He's already in the air. Just let him dunk it. He goes up and does this stupid foul, fouls out. Like, you gotta understand, like, you know, what you're doing. And he didn't. He must have lost track of how many fouls he had, or he underestimated, you know, his jumping ability, or he overestimated his jumping ability and underestimated Aaron Gordon's. But he had no chance at blocking that shot. And so that was a really dumb foul. So that was number one that really, really irks me if I'm a Blazers fan. Why is Nurkic fouling out with 4 minutes to go in the game? We need you. Don't freaking foul Aaron Gordon on a dunk that he's already about to dunk. And he was playing okay. He had 11 rebounds, 13 points for Nurkic. You know, you give him an extra few minutes and he's right there where you need him to be. CJ McCollum, 7 of 22. 7 of 22. Oh, you can't do that. You can't shoot 30% in a pivotal playoff game. So McCollum goes 7 of 22, 18 points, was a -7 on the box score. Lillard, 12 of 17 from 3. And these are difficult threes. Like, I did a podcast about who's the greatest shooter, and it was a pretty quick, like, hey, it's clearly Steph Curry, but here are some other guys, right? And Dame is in that conversation where it's like Steph Curry's up in a league of his own, and then you have other guys. And I still feel that way. The exception would be in clutch moments. In clutch moments, I would actually take Dame over Steph in clutch moments. Like, the guy, that step back at the end of overtime, it's a turnaround step back three-pointer with a guy in your face. That's literally a shot that wouldn't even be 10% of the time made by the average NBA player. And it would be maybe 10% unguarded. And he drains it with, like, total confidence. So really rough go for them. I think you'll probably see the Nuggets win this series now. I'm not going to put it past Dame, but McCollum's got to step up. And you know, the Blazers have a good roster. You know, I'm looking at Carmelo Anthony here, 3 of 11. Dame, by the way, first player in NBA history, regular season or playoffs, to go for 55 or more points with 10 or more assists and at least 10 three-pointers or more. First guy ever to do that, NBA regular season or playoffs, to have that kind of stat line with that number of threes. And he broke the record for most three-pointers in a playoff game with 12. And he was 12 of 17. 12 of 17. I couldn't make 12 of 17 if I went to the local gym and shot like college distance threes with no defense. I couldn't make 12 of 17 right now. This guy's ability is through the roof. I had my friend Jimmy Rex texted me. He saw my tweets. He's like, dude, what if we got freaking Dame? Like, I know he's talked about it before. What if the Jazz got Dame? Yeah, that would be amazing. You know, like, that would be absolutely incredible. He has said he wants to, you know, be a Blazer for life, but if not, He did go to Weber State, which is in Utah. He did say if he's not a Blazer, he could be interested in coming to the Jazz. I would welcome that with open arms, because you put him at our point guard, make him our Batman, make Donovan Mitchell our Robin, and then make Rudy Gobert just exactly what he is, like just the ultimate defender who can also get you 15 points, we'd be an unstoppable force. The problem is he'd be going from small market to small market. I don't know, and he and Donovan Mitchell, they're similar, but not really. Like, and you can have a great 1-2 punch. You can have a Steph Curry and a Klay Thompson. You can have a James Harden and a Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant. You can have a CJ McCollum and a Damian Lillard. Like, Donovan Mitchell's really just an upgrade from what he has currently in CJ McCollum. He's just a huge upgrade from that. And then Gobert is a huge upgrade from, I guess Nurkic, who's not really he's not really a true center, but he is their center. So he'd make a huge upgrade if he came to Utah. I would love it. That would be championship caliber stuff. Wishful thinking, I'm sure. But okay, last thing I want to mention, Jazz closeout game tonight. I will be there, and this will be the closeout game. I think the Jazz win by double figures, and we go safely on to the next round and see who we face. Game 5 tonight as well between the Clippers and Mavericks. Very big game. I'm going to give the Clippers the edge, but Ryan Smith, the owner of the Jazz, class act move. You heard all the drama about Ja Morant's family getting heckled, and there were some racist things said to him. Again, in Utah's defense, and to just report truth and reality, not just clickbait, controversial stuff. It was a couple of fans that were totally out of line. They have been banned for life from the arena. Many other fans, or at least several other fans, according to Ja Morant's dad, came to his defense and basically got after the people that were being inappropriate and disrespectful. But Ryan Smith, in a very classy move to change the culture, to change the image, is giving Ja Morant's family courtside seats for free, hooking them up with car service, hotel, dinner, like just wining and dining them, like, welcome to Utah. We want you on the floor with your son. So they will get a front row courtside seat. They can just be right there to watch their son lose in the first round of the playoffs. So I'm excited about that. Okay, that is all the time I have for today. Go Jazz, go NBA, go STB Sports Take. I will see you next time. I am out. Peace.
Thanks for hanging with Simply the Best Sports Take. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and check out stbsportstake.com. Simply the best in sports. 'Cause we are